What's good, everybody? It's your brother Nubreed coming through with another live stream. Double tap the screen on your way in. I ain't gonna hold y'all too long. So, as some of you all know, Diddy just got sentenced to 4 years in federal penitentiary. These studio lights. And I want to talk about why we ain't shed no tears. Now, this is an important video, but I'm gonna get straight to the point. I'm gonna tell you why we're not falling for what the media is doing right now. Because if you really have eyes to see, you would know what's going on right now. See, in the media, they're trying to venerate Diddy. Yep. When in the history of the United States have you seen a federal judge publicly on Fox News, all of Fox News? Now, let's not even talk about the federal judge. Let's stick here real quick. When have you seen Fox News get on there after a man got sentenced, talk about how good of a philanthropist, entrepreneur of a man somebody is? When have you heard Fox News do that? Because I'm gonna show you the agenda. That's very rare, right? Now, mind you, just days ago, a lot of tethers, a lot of uh, sellouts, a lot of the news correspondents, a lot of the suspected white supremacists, they were talking cash money-ish about Assata Shakur. They was talking bad about Martin Luther King. But now when we hear about Diddy, you hearing about Diddy was a rags to riches story, which sort of he was, which we're going to talk about Diddy's upbringing too. But you hear about how he was a philanthropist, how he was this genius entrepreneur. You hearing this on Fox News. See, what's happening right now is they want you to grandize and respect and venerate and highlight certain people in our community, like Diddy, while they talk bad about our actual revolutionaries. Y'all don't see what's happening right now. No. This is what the sellouts like to do too. The same people, and I've seen a lot of people actively talking horrible about Martin Luther King, about people like Assata Shakur, but these same people are screaming free Diddy? Excuse me? No. We're going to take a strong stance on this because I'm going to be very clear about what I'm about to say. This is not a black or white thing. This is a boule thing. See, Diddy was boule. Diddy, his father was connected with Frank Lucas, the drug dealer. Yeah, Diddy was associated with Frank Lucas. Diddy was raised and groomed with a high-profile drug dealer lifestyle. And at his early 20s, he was initiated into the secret society, into the Illuminati. He was already groomed to live a certain lifestyle. But then what transpired was he was officially initiated. The man been rich practically his whole life. And now a lot of people going to be up in arms saying how Diddy was done wrong and how Diddy didn't do nothing. Diddy need to be set free. No, listen. If you want to look at Diddy as some type of hero or whatever the case is, let me ask you this. Do you think he's going to be in the civil rights books? Is Diddy going to be in the history books. So let me get this right. Y'all got to make y'all mind up, y'all people out there on the outside. You down our revolutionaries, but you want Diddy to represent us? He represent us. Now, yes, the whole entire Diddy trial is a farce. It is a circus. Diddy, of course, they railroaded Diddy. Yeah, he got railroaded, but he was playing their game. He was a part of their game. He got railroaded. We know he got railroaded because how you gonna have a RICO case with one person? We're not even refuting that. But what I want to make clear is the media has an agenda here. And look, we not crying for Diddy. We not shedding no tears. Are we celebrating that he's locked up? No. Nobody is celebrating it because we don't care enough to celebrate it. But we don't have no sympathy because you're going to have these sellouts try to convince you that you got to feel bad for Diddy. Diddy is still a multimillionaire. Diddy got a slap on the wrist. Meanwhile, everybody is being distracted with the Diddy trial from what? They being distracted from Epstein. They're being distracted from martial law coming to America. They're being distracted to all the ICE riots that are breaking free all over the states. They're being distracted from, the mass incarceration roundup that took place right underneath everybody's noses. It's about that time we broaden our horizons and really look at what's going on. Diddy played their game, and they want Diddy to be the face of our people while y'all bash and put down our real revolutionaries. Get out of here. We're not letting no tethers do that. We're not letting the news media do that. Y'all should hear the judge talk about Diddy. Matter of fact, we'll go to the clips to what the judge said about Diddy. And Fox News don't be caring about black men. When do you hear a judge do that? While sentencing you. Yeah, it's going to be all right. You did great. Yeah, you're such a good man. This is how people are talking right now. Based on what the news is saying. Let me share that with y'all real quick. How the judge reacted to Diddy, and how Fox News talked about Diddy. Because it's an agenda. It's an agenda. And they all on one accord. Let's go there. Yeah, we can't make everything a black and white thing. No, Diddy been with the Illuminati program? Diddy been with the Boule? Diddy been with the black billionaires groups? Diddy been sold out? We're not going to rewrite history. This is what they want to do. They want to rewrite history where we remember people like Diddy as some type of revolutionary. No, we're not doing that. Nope, we ain't going to do it.
We did want to ask you, our viewers, do you think Sean Diddy Combs should be freed today or serve a prison term?
Now, since when did the news do this? When did the news ask the people like this? I'm going to tell you why they doing that. Because it's a census being conducted on the people. Expand your mind. Why are they asking the public this? See, they're trying to see if they can make Diddy a hero. Hold on real quick. Let's go here. Let me show y'all this real quick. Yeah, the judge talked about how great Diddy is while sentencing him. Let's go. Let's go.
I'm Wade Johnson in New York. We're coming back on the air because the judge has just sentenced Sean Diddy Combs to 4 years in prison. He was found guilty over the summer on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution in connection with his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura and another woman, but was acquitted on more serious charges that could have sent him to prison for life. Let's get right to our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katersky, who's been following this trial from the beginning. He joins us from outside the courthouse in Lower Manhattan. So, Aaron, we just got the verdict right there. We know that Combs himself spoke to the judge. The judge responded. Lay out the sentencing here and what went down in the courtroom today.
This was a very long sentencing hearing, which Sean Combs himself, once larger than life, was left begging for mercy, standing at the defense table, telling the judge that he's a changed man, apologizing for his behavior. But that request for a lenient sentence of time served was rejected by the judge, Arun Subramanian, who said it was insufficient to send the kind of message that he wanted to send, that violence against women must be met with real accountability. And so he sentenced Sean Combs to 4 years in prison. That's not as much as federal prosecutors here wanted. They wanted 11 years in prison, reminding the judge that Sean Combs has a penchant for violence and abuse, pointing to 2016 hotel security video showing Combs attacking Cassie Ventura. Combs says he knows that video intimately. He apologized to Cassie Ventura. The judge said 11 years was unreasonable, but 4 years is just the right amount, the judge said, to send a message to Sean Combs, to victims of domestic violence, that their accounts will be taken seriously.
Now, one moment. Now, to be clear with you, Fox News, y'all might have seen it in my last stream. Fox News was really talking about what Diddy's accomplishments were and all of that. And I'm not here to say that Diddy didn't have accomplishments. I'm not here to say that. Diddy, yes, he was a mogul. He was business savvy. Diddy established himself. Yes, Diddy was a black man. But is Diddy someone that we should give our emotional energy towards? Since the news want to do their tallies, we could do our tally in the chat. Is P. Diddy someone we should invest our emotional energy towards? Yep, Ringbo definitely said Diddy was going to be free, that he had an insider information, lied to the people. Yeah, because let me explain this to y'all. You got people running around who are basically worshiping Diddy. People saying no. And you know why? We don't want Diddy. Diddy doesn't represent us. Diddy was molded and groomed since a child to be who he is. Diddy is an Illuminati puppet. This is not a black or white issue. Everything ain't black or white. There's gray areas. Anytime you got Fox News trying to get Black America to have the sympathy card for Diddy, that is a red flag. The man got a slap on the wrist. Anybody who studied the industry and studied the things Diddy's allegedly done, you already know Diddy got blood on his hands. A lot of blood on his hands. But see, the satanic powers that be, they choose our heroes. They choose our heroes. They choose who you regard your emotional energy towards. Assata Shakur died, who was a hero in our community, and the tethers, the sellouts, and the news media disrespected that woman. Charlie Kirk passed away, and then a lot of white supremacists and suspected white supremacists took the opportunity to disrespect Martin Luther King. And now that Diddy is getting sentenced, we supposed to have some sympathy and Diddy's supposed to be looked at and get all our attention? No. Diddy sold out. Diddy was a practitioner of the craft. This ain't, I'm going to repeat this again. This ain't no black and white issue. This is a Boule, Illuminati, Fed issue. Now we got to talk about what the Fed, what the Fox News was saying. I got the clip now. I mean, I got the video, the right video now. Hold on. Well, this is ABC, but the news is saying the same thing. So let me go to a Fox News one. My bad, y'all, because I just kind of went live off the cuff because I can already see the direction that a lot of people are going, trying to gain sympathy for Diddy. No, we leave Diddy where he at. We don't need to free Diddy. We don't need to free Diddy. He'll be out in no time. Let's get Fox News. What the heck? All right. Yeah, let's get Fox News.
Well, we continue to follow that breaking news out of New York. Moments ago, Sean Diddy Combs sentenced to 4 years and 2 months in prison. It comes after he was convicted in a case earlier this summer involving sex worker violence and freak-offs. TMZ following the story from the beginning to this point. Michael Babcock, this was the trial that we thought would never end, and we were surprised by the day. And now Judgment Day has arrived. What do you make of it?
Hey, Angie, I thought listening to everything that was happening in the courtroom today, I thought that he was going to receive a harsher sentence. It's not what Diddy wanted. Diddy had asked through his defense attorneys for nothing more than 14 months. Obviously, this is well more than that. But the reality is that the prosecutors had asked for 11 years and 3 months at a minimum. That's 135 months. So he ultimately gets 50 months in jail, which he will serve in a federal prison. But you've got to also consider, Angie, that he has already served 12 months. Also will get some credit for some other things. Don't have to necessarily serve every single second of the time. So I think what you're ultimately looking at here is Diddy serving about 2.5 more years in a federal prison and then walking free. So not what the defense wanted, but also not what the prosecution wanted, in that they wanted a far more serious sentence here.
Yeah, and it follows what seemed like quite the emotional day there in the courtroom.
Yeah.
His family and himself laying it on thick there with the judge, and the judge almost reciprocating, you know.
And you got everyone running around saying Diddy is innocent. Innocent of what? Diddy broke crimes against humanity. You understand what I'm saying? See, there's spiritual ramifications that come. This ain't no black and white thing. This is a good versus evil thing. And now they're using this to garner sympathy for Diddy. Nah, Diddy is where he belongs. That's where Diddy is at. And we not shedding no tears because of it.
Acknowledging that he thinks that, you know, he's a good father, a good family man, doesn't doubt that, but cannot look away from, you know, how he yielded his power in certain situations and manipulated people and hurt them.
Right. I know. I think that's a great analysis of it, Angie. He said just because you're important to people and you've done nice things, you've done philanthropic things for people, that does not take away the violent acts that you have also perpetrated. And
exactly. Now they right here, just because he was a savvy businessman, he did X, Y, and Z, that does not make Diddy somebody that we got to put our emotional energy towards. Listen, this is the thing. As foundational Black Americans, we set the standard for who we deem suitable to represent us. Just because somebody look like us does not mean that they represent us. Doesn't mean that we have to fight for them. Doesn't mean that we have to feel some type of way. Diddy is with the elite. He's with the upper echelage. Diddy has years of teaching, putting those negative images out in hip hop, putting out Biggie Smalls, some of his lyrics, blanking kids, throwing them over the bridge. Yeah, Diddy put that out. East Coast, West Coast beef. Yes, was Diddy a powerful businessman? Yes. Was he savvy? Yes. But does this mean because he has certain accolades that we got to stand behind Diddy and venerate him? No. Now, see, this is what you got to look out for. You got to look out for the tethers. What's a tether? Somebody acting like us that ain't us. See, the tethers, a lot of these tethers out here, the same people who was talking trash about Assata Shakur, the same people who was talking bad about Martin Luther King, these are the same people like Free Diddy. Why? What do you think they have to gain with that? Why do you think they want Diddy out? Why do you think they champion people like Diddy, but put down real revolutionaries? Why do you think Fox News was being so nice to Diddy? I got to find a video I reacted to in my first live, because I broke it down there. Like, yo, they want emotional. They really want y'all to be emotional about it. They say, oh, man, it's messed up. Diddy is innocent. Diddy shouldn't get this time. No, Diddy did what he did. And we ain't shed no tears about it. Let me see. Let's go.
Could have sent him to prison for life. Let's get right to our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky, who's been following this trial from the beginning. He joins us from outside the courthouse in Lower Manhattan. So, Aaron, we just got the verdict right there. We know that Combs himself spoke to the judge. The judge responded.
Look how they trying to do this.
Sean Combs has already been sitting in MDC, the jail here in Brooklyn, New York, for 13 months. So you subtract 13 months even from that, you're looking at something like 2 years, maybe 3 years at the end of the day. The judge knew that and still gave this sentence. I think if you're Sean Combs and his defense team, a hard day, but overall a win for them.
Okay, Brian, stand by for us. So let's bring in criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor and ABC News legal contributor Bernarda Villalona. And Bernarda, we've also saw today some emotional testimony. We saw numerous children of Sean Diddy Combs speaking before the court. Combs himself saying that he's a changed man. There was this video that they put together talking about Combs being a family man, his impact on the community. How much of that do you think made a difference here in the judge's decision?
Well, today was definitely judgment day for Sean Diddy Combs. So what the judge told Sean Diddy Combs was like, look, in terms of your life work, of all the good you've done, in terms that you're a great father, it doesn't erase what I heard and what I saw during this 8-week trial. And what he heard and saw during this 8-week trial was one of Sean Diddy Combs taking advantage of Jane and Cassie by being violent to them, taking advantage of their emotions, having them engage in several sex acts, either by drugs or alcohol or by the manipulation. And the judge sent a message that, yes, you have family, yes, you have people that love you, but Jane and Cassie were victims, and victims should be accounted for, and someone should speak for the victims and deter this type of conduct. And that's why the judge didn't go with the 14th-month recommendation by the defense, but instead handed down a sentence of 50 months, 4 years and 2 months, to show that this is accountability, this is deterrence, this is protecting the public, and this is what the verdict is going to be today. And when people remember Sean.
And see, this right here is what is needed. That's why justice was served. And you got a lot of people out there, oh man, it's not fair. This is BS. They got railroad. Why are you emotionally invested in Diddy? Why? I'm gonna tell you this right now. After I say what I gotta say in this broadcast about Diddy, I ain't talking about it no more. Because I done already said what I needed to say. Listen, don't let these people out there guilt trip you into being emotionally invested in Diddy. Don't let them do it. Because they like to pick these straw man arguments. Well, nobody's perfect. He was this, he was that. Listen, this is not black injustice. Let's not turn this into a race issue. Yes, is it a distraction from the Epstein? Perhaps, yes. But Diddy played their game. Diddy played their game for nearly 20 to 30 years. And I know a lot of people want to make this a black or white issue. I'm not doing that. Not with Diddy. Because when I see what's daunting, when I see sellouts and they worried about the welfare of people like Diddy, but they disrespect Martin Luther King. Oh, I see the hypocrisy. That's hypocrisy at its finest. That's someone right there that want Diddy to represent us. I mean, Assata Shakur was talked about crazy, y'all. Somebody said, are you defending Diddy? No. Not at all. Actually, it's quite the opposite, because I see these creators on social media. I see them. I see the game they play. How you going to disrespect Martin Luther King, who brung us in the Civil Rights Act? How you going to disrespect Assata Shakur, who escaped prison? Because these psychotic racist maniacs were trying to kill her, beating her on a daily. And then this same creator turns around and say, you know, we need to all feel sympathy for Diddy. No, I'm not going to let that go unchecked. No, you need to go mind your tether business. You're disgusting. You want us to be emotionally invested in a degenerate. Let me make this clear. I believe that Diddy should have the chance to rehabilitate. I even in my last stream said, I hope he repents while he's in there. But what I see people doing on social media is wild. Yeah, Laura Lee laughing. She already know. She already know what I'm talking about with this creator, what he out there doing. Nah, I'm going to call that out. That's nonsense right there. We're not doing that. See, our image is everything, and we don't have to stake claim to people who don't represent us. People would say, well, Diddy done a lot for the community. He represents black excellence. He's a millionaire. He only in this category of this and that. Listen, he had to do a lot to get there. And now that he's there, whatever's going on with the high ups, that's their business. But we need to focus on venerating people who actually fight for us. See, the emotional games that they play on the public is why we always got celebrities, rappers, actors, and entertainers as leaders. That's the reason why, because we don't rightfully judge the situation. Meanwhile, in middle America, they marching and protesting for the Epstein files to be released. We sitting, you got some of our people screaming free Diddy. They listen, in middle America, they sitting here like, no, we want these people to get brought to justice. Diddy gets brought to justice for the things he done, and people still screaming free him. Is there double standards? Yes. Is it our business? No. Nobody fighting for Diddy. Pack him up. Let's send his ass right where he going. Yeah. Let's go.
Diddy Combs, they know that he is a convicted felon sentenced to 50 months for his actions throughout a decade on women.
And Aaron, this verdict today follows a 2-month trial, emotional, at times graphic testimony. We saw more of that play out today, at least the emotional part. But we can't forget the victims that were part of this. And there was some other color that played out in the courtroom today. Just walk us through some of the other things that we heard and what you saw.
It was a dramatic sentencing hearing, atypical of what we usually see here in federal court in Lower Manhattan. With the defense presentation lasted for hours. The defense called no witnesses during trial, but his attorneys, 5 of them, effectively acted as character witnesses for Sean Combs, talking about his achievements, how he's influenced them in the community. But the judge said that a lifetime of good works cannot erase his other conduct. In federal prosecution,
they said that Diddy did a lifetime of good works. Why are they pushing that on the news? How have y'all ever heard mainstream media venerate a black man like that while sentencing him? What does that do to the psyche of the general public? Y'all gonna think back in 2 years, y'all gonna think Diddy was Nelson Mandela. Like what the fuck? Like what the hell? He did a lifetime of good for who? Diddy was one of the first black billionaires. What the hell did Diddy build for our community? Not a damn thing. Y'all don't see the programming. He's being in prison for a few years, a couple years, while the news saying that he did a lifetime of righteous deeds. He's a philanthropist. He's a hero for you black folks. Diddy is y'all's hero. Let's disrespect Assata Shakur and Martin Luther King, but Diddy, take that, take that, take that. Y'all, that's y'all's hero. That's y'all's hero. Y'all don't see the play? You got to be able to see the play. This is why we need the image reclamation movement. This is why we hashtag not for sale. Because once you sell yourself, once you put that price tag on your ass, it's over for you. Diddy been put that price tag on him. You no longer represent us. See, the truth of the matter is, we supposed to have real leaders, real revolutionaries, real politicians, and whom we choose. But they're able to emotionally co-opt people to do what? Give emotional energy from somebody like damn Diddy. I don't give a damn about Diddy. I said what I said and I mean it. Yeah, they disrespect. These are the same people who want to get rid of critical race theory. These media outlets, these main sources, these are the same people who want to condemn all our history and erase everything. But then when the news talks about Diddy, great father, you know, we listen, in 10 years, we're going to think Diddy was a political prisoner. On mothers, we're going to think Diddy was a political prisoner and he really in there because he was a freak body old head that was turning young broads out with a nasty semen fetish. But you leave it up to these creators out here. We're going to think we're supposed to fight for Diddy's freedom. Oh, this is some nonsense, man. Why they do Diddy like that? Nah, I'm not hearing none of that. Diddy did what he did. Now he at where he at.
Prosecutors urged the judge to look at the Cassie video, to consider the violence he inflicted that they said was life-altering for women. Sean Combs himself grew tearful as he turned to his children to apologize for his conduct. He told his mother, "You raised me better." And his children crowded around a microphone at one point, 6 of them, each pleading the judge for his immediate release.
Now, what are they doing right now to the black community? They're getting emotionalism out of you. Oh man, Diddy, such a great father. His family was so sad. This happened, that happened. They all broke down. Why are they doing this? At the same time, telling you he did a lifetime of good. He's a philanthropist. He's just a great guy. Telling you. Somebody said, calm down, homie. They're going to indict him on murder charges. No, they're not. They already had the opportunity to do that.
His daughters sobbing through their presentation to the judge, begging him to give their father a second chance to return him to the family. But you heard the judge say there was a need for deterrence, a need to show victims of domestic violence that their accounts will be taken seriously. That's why he said he imposed a 4-year sentence on Sean Combs. He also did something else, Whit. He added a $500,000 fine. That's the largest amount allowed by the law. But the judge again said it was part of the sum total of Combs's conduct. That's why he deserved it.
And Aaron, I just want to talk a little bit more about the atmosphere around the courtroom. We were looking at images of Combs' children coming in and out of the courthouse. Also, some helicopter.
See, that's what they want you to believe, that, you know what I'm saying? He one of us. He just freaky yo over there. Oh, no, he one of us. He one of our people, y'all. See, that's the angle they take. Yo, that's just freaky yo. That's old pervy. That's just pervy swervy over there. You know what I'm saying? But y'all don't see the play. That's how they want y'all to look at it. Nah, he not just freaky yo. This is the Black Epstein. This guy right here don't represent us, but they want our people to have sympathy so we can talk about how unfair he's being treated. Nah, man, look, freaky yo been indoctrinated. Old freak body, old head Diddy been indoctrinated, and he been put on the boule list, and he been doing this for 20, 30 years, bro. What are we talking about?
Pictures overhead of the crowds that have gathered there. I know throughout the 2-month trial, you saw plenty of crowds out there every single day as this played out. Talk more about the cultural impact here, because as a rap mogul, he touched so many different people in different ways. And the judge actually referenced.
Yeah, he touched a lot of people in a whole lot of damn different ways. I bet he did. I bet he touched Justin Bieber in a lot of different ways. I bet he touched Usher Raymond in a bunch of different ways. I bet he touched a whole lot of people in a whole lot of different ways. I bet he did. I bet he did. I bet he did. See, this is what they do to shift the energy. While all hell breaking loose in the streets right now, they want black folks too busy trying to free Diddy like he Nelson Mandela. Ain't nobody screaming free Tory Lanez. The same people who saying free Diddy, you don't even see them people saying free Tory Lanez. We can even keep it on the celebrity level and see the hypocrisy. It's hypocrisy. It's hypocrisy, y'all. Don't let these people propagate Diddy as some type of hero. Don't let them do it. I'm not fighting for Diddy. Pack it. Hey, look, pack that freak body Negro up.
That today when he was speaking to Combs.
He did win, and he knows the cultural impact of Sean Combs, his pop culture icon status, his celebrity, but he also knows what Sean Combs did. And though he was not convicted of crimes of violence, federal prosecutors convinced him that violence was part of his repertoire, repeatedly inflicting it on people like Cassie Ventura, on people like Jane, the pseudonym for another one of his girlfriends who testified here. There are hundreds of people who are out here in Lower Manhattan in front of the courtroom, many of them supporters who were hoping that they would see Sean Combs walk out of those golden doors of the courthouse a free man headed home.
Yeah, he being compared to Nelson Mandela. He more like greasy love fellas. Oh, greasy love fella. Freaked out Diddy that likes to rub male specimens on his body, that like to practice sex magic, the Lima, and Satanism, and coerce young women to get turned out upside down and inside out. That's who they want you to be like, yo, he did a lifetime of good, free him. Nah, they don't see what type of attack this is. Let's go.
To Miami, as he said he wanted to go to care for his children and his mother. Many others, detractors, who say that Sean Combs deserved to spend time behind bars because they, like the judge, could not be blind to the very conduct.
These same people ain't talk. Listen, the same people you see saying they need to free Diddy. How many of them people ever talked about freeing any of our political prisoners? Oh, Ringbo TV over there, who's saying, they need to free Diddy. Nobody's perfect. Let's free Diddy. Have you ever heard this tether say free Mahmoud Abu Jamal? Have you ever heard him say free Matulu Shakur? Have you ever heard him say free any of the revolutionaries or journalists of those days that was bringing the truth? But y'all, but see, people let that clown get on here talking about free Diddy. No. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Those antics won't work. Yeah, leave Freaky Yo right where he at.
That they saw on that video from 2016 in the Los Angeles hotel, Combs attacking Cassie. When the sentence was handed down by the judge, Combs was sitting on his hands, expressionless.
And we know that Combs also submitted a letter to the judge the night before saying that he apologized. He's sincerely sorry for all of the hurt and the pain that I have caused others by my conduct. I take full responsibility and accountability for my past wrongs. Let's go back to Brian Buckmeyer because, Brian, we also know that there are a number of civil cases against Combs. Talk to us about the next steps, not only for Combs and how it relates to his time behind bars, but how these civil cases could play out.
Yeah, so for the civil cases, for the most part, I know that when Sean Combs was sentenced, the verdict came down in this case, there were some 60 civil cases that were paused because for the most part, when you are facing both criminal and civil cases, you pause a civil because you make the argument that any testimony you give in a civil case could be used against you in a criminal case. That's no longer the issue. So those cases will now be unpaused and they'll proceed as they would have without.
Yeah, you notice Diddy and R. Kelly as Ringo's heroes. He loved them. Anybody who about black liberation, anybody who really fought in the struggle that's incarcerated, this Negro ain't never said nothing about freeing them. But when it's a pervert, man, Diddy ain't even do nothing, bro. Y'all need to let Diddy out. Like, what is that man's infatuation with Diddy, bro? I don't understand it. Well, I do understand it. Birds of a feather flock together. It's crazy. Yo, it is insane, bro. It's funny. It's funny. You got to laugh it off. It's like, man, the hypocrisy of these people. Yeah. Free Diddy. Yo, R. Kelly's a G. You remember that boy said R. Kelly's a G. Free Diddy. Martin Luther King was horrible. What? This man made a video today comparing Diddy to Jesus. I couldn't believe it. The man, listen, y'all, I heard it's a YouTuber who made a video that compared P. Diddy to Jesus Christ. I'm not lying. He really did that and tried to guilt trip people to feel sorry for Diddy. He basically condemned people to hell. Look, y'all gonna end up going to hell when you die because y'all don't have a heart for Diddy. Ladies and gentlemen, that's weird. That's weird. The same person that put down black revolutionaries. Crazy work.
This criminal case. But from a criminal standpoint, what I'd imagine is the defense are going to file their motions of appeal, making whatever kind of arguments in terms of what the judge did or did not consider to come to this number. But for Sean Combs, he's going back to the Metropolitan Detention Center, or MD.
Yeah, a perverted YouTuber at that.
And he'll probably stay there for the coming weeks. I know these defense attorneys in the Southern District of New York, what typically happens is you're either going to be put in somewhere in Pennsylvania, upstate New York, or New Jersey. But if you do have family, and we saw a lot of mention of his mother who had surgery, she's 83 years old, I would imagine that Sean Combs would make a request to be somewhere close to his family, close to his mother, maybe close to his younger children so they can visit him frequently. There's going to be a push to try to have him in the best facility and probably the lowest level of security, a light or low level. And we saw mentions of that during the sentencing, that they didn't want certain facts to come in because they didn't want him in a maximum or even medium security prison. So those will be some of the next steps, both criminal and civil.
And Bernarda, from the prosecution's perspective here, obviously they didn't get the conviction on the more serious charges of racketeering and such that they initially went for. And then here they were asking for 11 years in prison. They get 4. How is the prosecution looking at this? And
yo, I'm gonna tell y'all, when Diddy get out, the garden gonna be packed. It's gonna be so many. I'm telling you, this is strategically planned. They strategically made it so when Trump get out of office, more than likely the left gonna be back in office. When Trump get out of office, it's gonna be a liberal freak fest. Right when Diddy getting out, you're gonna have Madison Square Garden pumped full of baby oil. Hey, listen, they're going to have a ball. They're going to have a whole parade. They're going to have a baby oil Diddy parade in Madison Square Garden in a few years, bro. Hey, mark my words. I told y'all this. I was the first one to tell y'all in a few years, there's going to be a Diddy baby oil festival. And they're going to sell out the garden. It's going to be so much reprobates out there. I'm telling you. I'm going to tell you this, too, about these tethers. They don't never talk about their own people, their own leaders. They always looking at foundational black leaders like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and all these people and trying to condemn them. But they can't tell you who their leaders is from their various countries. Yeah. Let me see. Thanks for the support, NY Rock. It says, I'm tired of that weirdo calling us dumb because we don't support him and see through his sickness. Yeah. Don't nobody support that wickedness. We're not dealing with you weirdos and you freaks. We're not dealing with y'all. They don't represent us. We hashtag not for sale. This image reclamation movement. Ain't nobody claiming to be perfect. Ain't nobody claiming to be without fault or blemish, because that's the story they tell to try to get sympathy. Well, everybody didn't sin. And yes, everybody didn't sin, but you're not going to show no hypocrisy by putting on for Diddy while disrespecting all our biblical revolutionaries. We're not playing like that. We're not going like that. Yeah, we don't care about no damn Diddy. We're going to say what we want to say about him, and we're going to move on to the next subject. And he going to be in this cell with Bubba for the next few years. And that's that. Then we're going to move to the next topic. Like they acting like he a civil rights activist or something. All of the innocent men in jail for speaking truth. The hell out of here.
Does this verdict send a message to sexual assault suspects?
Yeah, so when you're looking from the prosecution perspective, the prosecution is questioning, is this justice? For those victims, is this justice, this type of sentence, or even the conviction being that Sean Combs was acquitted of the racketeering conspiracy and the sex trafficking? You got to think that the prosecutor stands as the voice of the voiceless.
And that's real talk. That's if the United States is here in 3 years, we'll see him walk out. Because I'm telling you, we being distracted from some real things. Y'all got to keep in mind, there's no more protection from the civil rights groups anymore. The FBI, they didn't exited stage left. The FBI didn't pull the plug on the ADL, and they pulled the plug on the Southern Poverty Network that protects people. And we are the only group of people. Blacks and Hispanics are the only groups of people who don't have no hate bill crime. You got anti-ICE riots, protests turned into riots all over the country. America's burning right now, and you got these tethers that want Diddy freed. No, we need to be paying attention to what's going on in the world and not get distracted. Because right now the news is blowing up about everything what's going on. I cover that. It's drying up. I have to talk about Diddy just to tell y'all. I got to talk about P. Diddy just to tell you what's really going on so you can see the distraction that's being made. Because you're being distracted again with the Diddy verdict. But when I'm showing all the footage of what's going on in America right now, people get blanked. Why? Because they operating in fear. They just want something to entertain them. And this is how these entertainers stay in power, by the energy that we give them.
Voice of those victims, and while they're not happy that they only got the conviction on the transportation to engage in prostitution, they still serve that as that voice today when they represented the government and the people of the United States inside of that courtroom. So what message does it send, that 50 months, that time of sentence? I think the strongest message is the words that came out of Judge Subramanian's mouth, where he said and talked about these victims, how they were manipulated by Sean Combs, that they deserve a voice, that accountability is expected in this case, and that he will hand out accountability. It's not the 11 years that the prosecution sought, but still is an accountability in the sense that no matter how much money you have, you will still be held accountable in a court of law and will be sentenced according to the guidelines, so below the guidelines in this case.
And Aaron Katersky, the judge, we talked about how the judge had a message to Combs. He did reference the cultural impact that he has had. Also, Combs as an entrepreneur, he referenced what he had done for his community and talked.
What have Diddy did for our community? Let me see if anybody in the chat can answer that. What have Diddy, one of the first black billionaires, what have he actually done for our community that made a tangible difference? What have he done but enrich himself? Why is the news painting Diddy as a community activist? Somebody explain to me why the mainstream media on every news station saying that Diddy was a community activist. Only thing he did was give us Ciroc to push alcoholism. Yeah, he was a crafty businessman. All he did was give us some Sean John baggy ass jeans, Biggie Smalls. Yeah, Diddy is now a civil rights leader. Diddy is now a civil rights leader whom the black community should protest for because he was done unjustly for just being freaky, yo. No, see, I see the big picture. I see the full picture of what's going on. That's why people come to this platform to get the truth, not no emotional rants. These unintelligent, uneducated, emotional rants that these tethers like to put out. Their only skill is pulling at people's heartstrings and emotionalism and manipulation and narcissism. No, we're not on that. We're going to call things as they are. Because we're not a reaction channel. We actually think. We actually can see the whole picture. Yeah, let me see that. Read that comment. Charlie Kirk was a civil rights leader, and so was Diddy. Exactly. Exactly. That's how they're talking. Charlie Kirk was a civil rights leader, and Diddy is Martin Luther King, awful person, according to the tethers. Assata Shakur, awful person. But Diddy, let's compare him to Jesus Christ. What's up with these fools, man? They fools, man. They fools.
Talking to people, what more did the judge say?
The judge told Sean Combs that his contributions to society were incalculable. And he also said to Combs, quoting here, Mr. Combs, I know you feel you are in a dark place right now.
He said his accomplishments were incomparable, meaning you can't even measure what Diddy has done for the black community. You can't even measure it. Diddy's contribution to the black community is stapled in the annals of time, according to the judge. He's a community activist, a civil rights leader, a pillar in his community, according to the news. While they lock him up, they're trying to make him Nelson Mandela.
I know you feel you are in a dark place right now, but these crimes were serious ones. And the judge went on to say to Combs that you and your family are going to get through this. There is light at the end of the tunnel. The judge clearly wanted to express to Combs and his family that he heard their pleas for mercy, their pleas for his immediate release. He said he couldn't do it, but he said there will be time at the end of the term of incarceration where he could make the kinds of contributions to society that Combs swore and others swore on his behalf that he wanted to make. And Whit, if you'll indulge me, I just got a message from Cassie Ventura's attorney, Doug Wigdor, who says that while nothing can undo the trauma caused by Combs, the sentence imposed today recognizes the impact of the serious offenses he committed. We are confident that with the support of her family and friends, Ms. Ventura will continue healing, knowing that her bravery and fortitude have been an...
Now, I say all of that to say this. Look, I'm a man of the Most High, and I believe everybody should be able to have redemption. I hope that Diddy gets in there and repents. I really do. I hope that he turned to the Most High and get out of the boule, get out of the Illuminati, stop the satanic lifestyle he was living, stop the sex magic rituals and the Thelema, denounce his wicked ways, find Christ. I want that for Diddy. But am I emotionally invested and trying to tell my people that we should be invested in Diddy? He need to be free? No. That's lunacy. When we got much bigger things going on in the world. On top of that, history is being rewritten as we speak, and our real patriarchs, our real revolutionaries, our real prisoners of war, our real, conscious prisoners of war, political prisoners, they still in cells. This is just one huge distraction. And I want y'all to stay focused on the prize. All of the day ones that's in the chat, listen, all you brothers and sisters of truth, we got to stay focused. Because Diddy was for sale. And when you got a price tag on yourself and you willing to sell yourself out and sell your people out, there's consequences. These devils will chew you up and spit you out once you're no longer useful for them. And if you hop out of line, they will spank you, incarcerate you like they did Diddy. We know Diddy got railroaded, but he played their game. That's why we hashtag not for sale. You got people online selling out to MAGA, grifting. Anything that's popping, they'll go ahead and grift. You got people selling out to white supremacy. You got people selling out in any way they can for $1. Look what that ended up. Look what that did for Diddy. Look what that did for Diddy. Look, I said what I need to say. Y'all be blessed out there. I got more material.